We haven't had practice.
Do what?
So we haven't had practice.
Oh.
I mean, we played on Wednesday, and today's Friday, so we took day off Thursday.
Cool. You've been watching some Central film.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a scouting report on them?
Yes.
Who are some guys who are pretty good for them? Who are you going to be keying out on?
Well, I mean, the two leading scorers are Randy Miller and Ty Graves. I mean, two guys that shoot a really, really high percentage from the three-point line. And, you know, that's really where they get their majority of their points, those two guys.
You happy with the way the team's been gelling through the first 3 games?
I think we're improving. I don't think we're a finished product. I don't think anybody is at this stage of the year. But, you know, we just have to continue to improve, and that's what our quest is.
You've got two, potential stars going to be joining your roster. How much deeper does that make this team, and much more dangerous, I guess?
I said when those two got injured, as down as I was for them, I think it was going to make our team a lot deeper when they did return. And so I think some guys have gotten a little bit of experience that maybe they wouldn't have. I know they've gotten more reps in practice simply because of the body count. But, you know, the addition of both David and Malik, when that time comes, I think will certainly add to our depth and our talent level.
Can you project the timetable at this point?
I think really, to me, we have to see how they respond and react to competitive practices before I could really, make a guess. Everything to this point has been smooth sailing in terms of their rehab, and there haven't been any setbacks. And so hopefully that's exactly what we see when they start going against live competition in practice.
Chris, you said after the Miami game that you changed some things offensively. You guys have spent a lot of time. I would take it as because of personnel. How is that transition coming? Because I would imagine it's a work in progress.
It is, and we still have a ways to go. I think sometimes we fall in love with jump shots. Jump shots aren't a bad thing. We have a very good shooting team, but we have to create really good ones in order for me to feel good about that being the offense that I want to see for the entire year. It's not a matter of if your shot's going in, like I said the other night. It's like what type of shots are being created. And we have to be wise enough and objective enough to say, really in the context of things, that a great shot, can we get a better one? Could we have been more patient? And you're never going to be perfect. I think our guys play together. I think they try to play the game the right way. But I think sometimes we're a little bit too confident, and we have to make sure that our offense is producing those shots, not individual players.
How different is your offense this year as opposed to what you guys were running last year?
Without getting too technical, our flow game, the way that we play is a lot different. Some of our set plays and things that we want to execute, are pretty similar. But we tweak set plays from year to year. But the way we play in general, if we're not running a set play, has changed dramatically.
Sam was just in here. Is he about where you expected through 3 games?
That's a tough question. I expected Sam to be a really good player, but I didn't. Maybe I'm not smart enough to say, in game 3, this is where I want him. He's going to be like a lot of freshmen. He's going to have some very, very tough moments throughout the course of the year. He hasn't had a whole lot of those yet. How he responds to those will be key for him. But it's a long season for every freshman in college basketball. He's doing great, and he's been a big impact on our team.
Did you talk to the team at all about UK Evansville?
Very little. The guys are, they're fans of the game. They're very well aware. I mean, you can't, unless you're living in the Stone Ages and you don't have social media, you saw it. So a lot of times you don't have to necessarily point that out as a coach. I think the older guys especially understand.
You spoke highly of Fresh after the game, and did that still kind of shine when you looked at the tape? And could this be that light bulb moment for him, you think, moving forward?
It was by far his best game on both ends of the floor. is, I think, as excited as maybe Cardinal fans were about his offense, I was in love with the way he defended. He did a great job against a very difficult team in terms of personnel. He was right place, right time. He was completely locked in, engaged both on and off the ball. He played extremely well, and it's what I really expect to see as we move forward. He's not going to have big night scoring because his job is to, get his team involved. But if he's disrespected, they go onto the ball screen. If he finds a driving lane, it's good to see what he did the other night.
I wanted to ask about Jay Scrubb and what your philosophy is with JUCOs. Is this something that, given the turnover in college basketball now, you have to look at that harder?
I think with Jay's recruitment, Tim, there are a lot of variables that sort of come into play. We recognize that we had 6 freshmen on this year's team. On next year's team, we'll have 5 sophomores. Jalen will be a freshman, Jalen Withers. That would be, at least 3 freshmen. So you're talking about 8 of your 12 scholarship players being either freshmen or sophomores. We would have no juniors in that class. And, that was because obviously the gap with Coach Padgett and us losing a freshman class that year. So we wanted to try to find, whether it was a transfer, whether it was a sit-out transfer, whether it was a junior college player, and obviously Jay being a local guy, as talented as he is, knowing who we're going to lose, it just made total sense from the very get-go.
Do you have a general philosophy about that, given that most deal with a 2-year proposition?
No. I think each case is different. I think that we weren't going to scour the country for junior college players, but we're going to try to find the best players that we can here at Louisville, and whether they're incoming freshmen, the traditional route from high school or prep school, or junior college, from international, you name it. We're going to try to at least do our homework to figure out who are the best 12 or 13 players that we can put on scholarship, and it all makes sense. Trying to balance the classes as best we can. It gets a little bit more difficult in today's day and age since guys leave early. The 5th-year grad transfer route, the lack of immediate playing time with guys transferring. So your roster maybe isn't as protected as it was 10, 15 years ago. That's okay. We're always going to try to uncover any stone that we can to figure out who we want on our team.
Chris, are you confident that you'll get him on campus? I mean, there has been a little bit of talk that he may.
There's going to be talk, and I've been very honest with Jay from the get-go and his dad. I think that would be a little bit like Jordan, foolish to project what's going to happen in March, April, May, June. But we're going to be lockstep with him every single step of the way and offer whatever advice we can. And, just like in Jordan's case, he made the best decision for Jordan. I'm confident that Jay trusts the relationship he has with the coaching staff and the feedback the NBA gives. And hey, if he's a first-round pick, we'll be there to root him on. And if not, then he'll be in a Cardinal uniform.
A guy like JJ, you described him, I think, had a meteoric rise. When you see a guy like that on the high school level, AAU circuit, explode like that, does that get a coach kind of excited about, man, how good can this guy be?
Yeah, you want your recruits trending in the right direction.
Yeah.
There are a lot of kids now that were the greatest 8th grader and 9th grader in the history of basketball, only to barely earn a Division I scholarship by the time they left high school. You see that happen a lot more than you see a guy like JJ coming out of nowhere. And so we're awfully excited to add him. I think he's going to continue to fill out. I'm not sure if he's done growing. His skill set is ever improving. So we know we have a good one, and I think he's just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to his potential.
There was a mock draft posted recently that had 3 of your guys going in the first round. As a coach, knowing that attrition is part of the deal now in college basketball, how do you plan, or can you
I don't know. Ask me that question in 4 months.
I mean, it has to enter into your recruiting thinking that we're likely to lose this guy at this point and that guy at that
Well, if you're talking about, the three I think you're talking about, one of them's a fifth year guy,
Right.
so he won't be here. I've already had those conversations with Jordan, and Sam's 3 games into his college career, and so I'm going to always be honest with the prospect, the family. If they start to concern themselves about that kind of stuff now, there won't be enough rounds in the next mock draft for them to be a part of that. They got to worry about winning games at Louisville, becoming the best player they can. And it's a good problem to have if that mock draft becomes reality. But there's a lot of time between now and then, and they got to focus on the present.
Well, that's what they have to do. But you as a coach in recruiting, how does that impact
I never
what you do?
quit recruiting.
Okay.
Yeah, never quit recruiting. We good? Thanks, guys.
Thank you.